In the early 1590s, Thomas Kyd was one of the most experienced dramatists in early modern England. He was a master of his craft and someone Shakespeare not only worked with, but even learned from when Shakespeare was crafting his own career as a playwright. In fact, it's been argued that the death of Thomas Kyd is what provided a path for Shakespeare to rise to fame in early modern England. When he wasn't being an amazing playwright, however, Thomas Kyd spent a lot of time getting into trouble. He was not only arrested, but he was tortured. And to find out exactly what got Thomas Kyd into such hot water with the Elizabethan authorities, we sat down with Darren Freebury-Jones, who wrote a book on Thomas Kyd and his relationship with Shakespeare entitled Shakespeare's Tutor. Here's what Darren had to say. So I've read that he was accused of treason for what one article called subversive political activities. Was Kyd something of a rebel in general?
Again, I think that's very difficult to tell.
But
Kyd,
he did get arrested. Yes.
yeah, well, Kyd does his best to dissociate himself from accusations of subversion aimed at Marlowe in the letters to Puckering. But if I'm being honest, Cassidy, rebel is a sexier term than most I've heard applied to Kyd's character. Um, in
So
most
he was
depictions,
maybe just suffering from the general, I don't know, industry standard or perhaps professional hazard that was being a playwright in Elizabethan England.
yeah, I think so. As I was saying, in most depictions, he's a rather sober-minded, moralistic figure, and he's diametrically opposed to the swaggering Marlowe, which frankly ignores Johnson's sobriquet sporting and the innovative blend of humour with tragic materials that we find in Kyd's plays. I mean, Kyd's work suggests that he actually had a great sense of humour. So when it comes to reputation, that idle and most false imposition or legacy, I think Kyd has been very unlucky. And on the theme of legacy, let's travel back in time to August 1594. Christopher Marlowe was as dead as a doornail. And his death had been mysterious, accused of posting bills about London, threatening Protestant refugees. He'd been stabbed in the right eye in a Deptford house by a man known to have been in the employ of the spymaster Francis Walsingham, while awaiting a decision on his case by the Privy Council. And Robert Greene was also deceased, having railed against the world of commercial theatre on his deathbed. So when Thomas Kyd died that month, the path was cleared for the young dramatist William Shakespeare, and the ghosts of these dramatic predecessors, each of whom had come to ignominious ends, would haunt Shakespeare throughout his writing career. I mean, much has been written on Shakespeare's relationship with the former playwrights, but to my eyes, modern scholarship has done an injustice when it comes to Kyd's legacy, failing to recognize the extent to which he influenced Shakespeare, and as I would argue, the full extent of his surviving dramatic corpus. And while we're on the theme of a hazardous profession, I think the injustice that Kyd has faced in death echoes the final years of his life. As the authorities suspected Marlowe of writing a heretical poem posted on the walls of a Dutch church, Kyd was arrested and tortured in his absence. And Kyd would die in disgrace despite being an innocent man. And we have to remember that he was released from prison. So if he were a rebel, it seems, sadly, it was a rebel without a patron.
If you'd like to hear our entire interview with Darren Freebury-Jones on the life, death, and relationship to Shakespeare of Thomas Kyd, you can listen right now at CassidyCash.com/episode 252. There are actually 2 episodes with Darren Freebury-Jones on Thomas Kyd. One of them is completely free to listen on our platform, and you'll find it at CassidyCash.com/episode 252. But the rest of the interview that we've given you a clip of here today is actually from an older episode we've done with Darren, and it's in our back catalog found for for patrons. Now, it's also on our website at CassidyCash.com/episode 134. You'll have to log in with a Patreon credential to access this episode, but that's $5 to access this and all of the other episodes that we have. So you can listen to either one and learn a whole lot of history about Thomas Kyd. There's also some bonus history there about Thomas Kyd, including some visual archival information like portraits and paintings that you might find interesting if you like Thomas Kyd. That's it for this week. I'm Cassidy Cash, and as always, I hope you learned something new about the Bard. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.